מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Page 128 in Siddur Mishkan Tefillah. If you don't have one in the front lobby, you can grab one off of the bookcase right there. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. In the middle of page 128. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, mishochav-techa eretzonecha, mishochav-techa la 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 eretzonecha. Yarutz avtecha kemo hayah, yishtachavei la 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 el mul hadarecha. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, mishochav-techa el ritzonecha, mishochav-techa la 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 el ritzonecha. Yarutz avtecha kemo hayah, yishtachavei la 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 el hadarecha. It's the third night of Hanukkah. So if you'll turn in your books to page 572. 572, you'll find our blessings for lighting our Hanukkah candles, which we light before we light our Shabbat candles here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של חנוכה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשה ניסים לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה. And while I'm lighting the candles here, you can turn back to page 120, where you will find our blessings for lighting our Shabbat candles as well. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Page 130. We make our way through the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat as we say goodbye to another week and hello to the beauty of Shabbat, the last Shabbat of 2024. Let us come sing joyfully to God. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Naria, naria, b'tzur yishenu, mikadma fanav b'toda. Naria, naria, b'tzur yishenu, b'zmirot naria lo. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. From Psalm 96 on page 131, that paragraph at the bottom of the page, Yismuchu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz, the heavens will be happy and the earth will rejoice. Yiram hayam u'melo'o, and the sea and all that fills it will join in. All the creatures that walk on the face of the earth and fly in the sky and swim in the sea give thanks for creation. Yismechu hashamayim, the bottom of page 131. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, melo'o. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, melo'o. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. From Psalm 97 on page 132, 4 lines from the bottom of the page. Or zarua la tzadik ul yishrei lev simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, and happiness for those who are good-hearted. At this time of year, we talk about the beauty of the light of the Chanukah menorah, the Chanukiah, and talk about how it represents righteousness and bringing light into the world. The Psalms things of the same concepts and ideas. Or zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua la tzadik yishrei lev simcha. Yishrei lev simcha. Lai 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 lai. Or zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. On page 134, it's the second half of Psalm 98. We'll read together in the English in the middle of the page. Sing praises to Adonai with the lyre and melodious song, with trumpets and the blast of the horn. Raise a shout before Adonai the ruler. Let the sea and all within it thunder. Let the world and its inhabitants. Let the rivers clap their hands. The mountains sing joyously together at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its people with equity. On page 135 from Psalm 99, we say, exalt Adonai our God and bow down at God's holy mountain. For Adonai our God is holy. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu. The bottom 3 lines of the Hebrew on page 135. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. The sixth of our 6 Psalms of praise, Psalm 29, page 136 and 137. We'll read together in the English, and then we'll sing the last 2 lines of the Hebrew on page 137. We read together, a psalm of David. Ascribe to Adonai, O divine beings. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow down to Adonai, majestic in holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters. The God of glory thunders, Adonai, over the mighty waters. The voice of Adonai is power. The voice of Adonai is majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Sirion like a young wild ox. The voice of Adonai kindles flames of fire. The voice of Adonai convulses the wilderness. Adonai convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai causes hinds to calve and strips forests bare. While in God's temple all say glory. Adonai sits enthroned at the flood. Adonai sits enthroned, sovereign forever. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bestow on God's people well-being. Those last 2 lines of the English, Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Lai 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 Adonai oz amo yitain yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitain yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Lai 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 lai. We welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride, page 138 and 139, with the Chadodi, verses 1 and 2 on page 138, verses 5 and 9 on page 139. Lecha lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Lecha lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela la 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 lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Ishmi anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litki la 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 Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki mekor habracha Lirosh mikedem nesucha Sofa aseh b'machshavat la 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 Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Oreri, Yivarech, Kumi Uri, Shir Daberi, Kivon Adonai Alayim, Niga la 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 la, Lecha dodi, Likrat kala, Pinei Shabbat nikabela, Lecha dodi, Likrat kala, Pinei Shabbat nikabela. We all rise. As we face the door, we welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala Gam b'simcha uv'tzola Tochem ne'am segula Boi chala la 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 Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela la 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 Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi Likrat kala Pinei Shabbat nikabela. We've greeted Shabbat, we'll greet each other. Turn to the people in front of you, behind you, to your left and to your right. Wish everybody Shabbat Shalom. For those of you online joining us on TempleShalom.com and joining us on our Temple Shalom YouTube page, Shabbat Shalom and welcome to all of you as well. And again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As we find our seats, we turn to page 140 in our Siddur. Psalm 92, a psalm of Shabbat. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat. Let us sing a song of Shabbat. Tov Lahodot Ladonai. It is good to give thanks to God. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, lizamer leshimcha elyon, lizamer leshimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, lizamer leshimcha elyon, lizamer leshimcha elyon. Lahagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha ba'leilot, alei asor de'aleina ve'lalei higayon bechirot. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, lizamer leshimcha elyon, lizamer leshimcha elyon. Ki simachtani Adonai b'fo'lecha, b'maasei yadecha arani. Ma gadlu ma'asecha Adonai me'od, amku machshavotech. haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, lizamer leshimcha elyon, lizamer leshimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, lizamer leshimcha elyon, lizamer leshimcha elyon, lizamer leshimcha elyon, lizamer leshimcha elyon. Page 142. Shalom Aleichem. Peace to you, ministering angels who watch over us on this Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vo'achem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu, Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu, Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zidchem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yalalala, 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 Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Sharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We move from our Kabbalat Shabbat into our evening service with Chati Kaddish, page 144. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabba, Yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala, uv'izmahan ka'arivim eru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam olam me'amaya, Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitpa'ar, Vidroman, Vidnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shemei Dukudusha, Burichu, Le'elam, Min Koberchata, Vishihirata, tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'meru. Amen. We rise for Baruch Hu, page 146, as we call ourselves to prayer. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. We can all be seated. We give thanks for creation. The top of page 149 as we read together in English. Then we'll sing the last couple lines of Ma'ariv Aravim, our creation prayer in Hebrew, after we read the English on 149. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, God, from whom the evening flows. El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai lai lai. Lai lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai lai lai. La 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 la. We continue as we give thanks for the Torah. With a great amount of love, you have given the Torah to your people, Israel, giving it to us as a pathway, because its words are our lives and its words are the length of our days. We praise you, God, who gives us your Torah as a gift of love. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah umitzvot Hukim umishpatim Otanu limadita Otanu limadita Al kein Adonai Eloheinu bishochvenu V'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hein chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nehege yomam ve'layla Nehege yomam ve'layla Ve'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 152 and 153, we join together in the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam Amazuzo beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem leElohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We'll read together an English rendition of the words we just chanted, in the middle of page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children, talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. We hold these words to be true and trustworthy, that you are our God and we are your people, Israel. There is no other God. These words are the English translation of the words at the top of page 156 that leads us into the Geulah, our freedom prayer. Emet v'emunah, emet v'emunah, emet v'emunah, kol zot ve'kayam aleinu, emet v'emunah kol zot, ki hu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ein zulato va'anachnu Yisrael, Yisrael Amo. Emet v'emunah, emet v'emunah, emet v'emunah kol zot ve'kayam aleinu, emet v'emunah kol zot. When your children witnessed your dominion, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all of Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices in great joy as they sang these words on page 158. Ya lai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha ne'edar b'kodesh. Torah tehilot osefele. Torah tehilot osefele. Malachutecha ra'u vanecha. Ukei hayam nifni Moshe u'Miriam. Ze eli anu ve'amru. Ze eli anu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Ya lai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Sing the song of men and women. Join in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, a song of peace. Page 160. We ask God to lie us down in peace and cause us to rise tomorrow to life, to spread a shelter of peace over us and to guard us and protect us from enemy and illness and war, from famine and sorrow and wrongdoing, to watch over us, our coming and our going, now and for always. Praised are you, God, who spreads a shelter of peace over us, over your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei sukat shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162, a reminder of the beauty and importance of Shabbat. The people of Israel will keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat through all of the ages as a covenant for all time, a sign between God and the children of Israel that in 6 days God created the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day God ceased and refreshed. The top of 162. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridotam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridotam. B'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridotam. Ki shneshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridotam. U'v'yom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridotam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'ridotam. We'll rise for the Amidah. So you turn to page 164. A time for prayer together and some time for our own silent prayers. We'll begin on 164 together and sing the first few pages of the even-numbered pages together, and then we'll take time for our own silent prayers. As we make our way through our prayers, you'll notice that when you get to page 176 in your silent prayers, there's an extra paragraph that we add in for Hanukkah at the very bottom of page 176. You'll find those particular prayers, the particular paragraph that's in it. If you're really ambitious, if you're very, very ambitious, you'll turn back to page 556 where you'll see those prayer. You can just say at the top of, you'll see in the middle of 176, it says on Hanukkah, continue on page 556. So right at that point, you turn to page 556. On 556, you can say the paragraph at the top of the page. If you're very, very, very ambitious, you can say the entire page of page 556. If you're not so ambitious, the top of the page will do. But if you're very ambitious and want to tell the whole story of Hanukkah to yourself, you'll find that at the bottom of 556. When you get to the bottom, you turn back to page 176 and continue on from there. But we start together on page 164. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chaste Avot V'Imahot Mevi Gula Livnei V'Nehem L'man Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayi Hakol Atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach, Umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech meimit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kedosh b'chol yom yahalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We continue silently through page 180, 181 if you're reading the English. You can be seated when you finish your own silent prayers. Page 178, a prayer for peace. Shalom Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. We think of those who are in need of healing. We ask God to bring complete healing for April, David and Dylan Morris, Scott Slinger, Chaya Reza Bat Melech Baruch, David Ben Label, Carly Johnson Walker, Cody Chapman, Riley McGee, William Bendon, Darren Black, Naomi Talia Bat Sarah, Gnendel Bat Sima, Ilana Liba Bat Elisheva Zahara, Don Emmerich, Risha Chana Bat Ezra, Rachel Bat Avraham Vasara, Susan Schenk, Stanley Sachs, Reuven Ben Shlomo Mordechai Tzipora, Rivka Bat Pearl, Eileen Hamburg, Lisa Lead, Yishav Zaza, Lori Rolf. Do we have any other names for healing? We'll start on this side of the room. Are there any names for healing over here on this side of the room? Over on this side, anybody? Any other names? For all those that we've named, for all of those in need, page 371. We ask God to bring refuah shlema, complete healing to each and everyone in need. Mi shebeirach avoteinu mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha le'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. It seems that there's an old Hasidic saying that says that every Torah portion finds its right time on the calendar. And in the case of this week's Torah portion, it's very true, because this week's discussion of Joseph in Egypt matches up very nicely with a little lesson about Hanukkah. Now, Hanukkah, of course, is one of the three most important Jewish holidays if you pay attention to your local news media. Because your local news media puts a story on television for Yom Kippur, they put a story on television for Pesach, and they put a story on television for Hanukkah. It would lead you to think that those are the three most important holidays on the Jewish calendar. The news media could probably do a better job with their research, but that's just what they do. And Hanukkah is a holiday that celebrates the fight against assimilation. And yet Hanukkah is probably the most assimilated Jewish holiday that there is. It seems the exact opposite of the holiday. Because on Hanukkah, we know what the Hanukkah traditions are, right? On Hanukkah, what you do is you go to the store and buy Christmas presents and cross out the word Christmas and write Hanukkah on it, right? That's what you do on Hanukkah. And then additionally, when you decorate for Hanukkah, what you do is you make sure, especially if you have a television show, that you have the entire set of your television talk show covered in Christmas things. And then way over here in the corner, you put a menorah. And then you're all decorated for Hanukkah. That's right, that's how it works. And when you have your television commercials, you say, Merry Christmas to all of the people who want to buy our toys, and Happy Hanukkah to all the Jews who want to buy them too. And we seem very, very assimilated into our whole idea of what is Hanukkah in America, very, very much assimilated into kind of this generic winter festival. But Hanukkah is really about the fight against assimilating into another culture. The Maccabees were fighting against, well, they were fighting two wars. There was a war against the Seleucid Greeks, who were from the portion of the Greek Empire that's now modern-day Syria and Lebanon. But they were also fighting a war against other Jews. It was a Jewish civil war going on at the same time, because the Maccabees were not only fighting against the Seleucid Greeks, but against Jews who were becoming Hellenized and wanted to walk away from Jewish ways. And back in their days, they called it being Hellenized, however you say that in Greek. But today we call it assimilation. But the Maccabees were fighting against assimilation, and without knowing it, they were even making a small argument for the idea of a word that we created not that long ago called acculturation. And what's the difference between assimilation and acculturation? If you know, you can pass the SAT. That's right. But acculturation is the idea of keeping your own identity and yet blending in somewhat to the local culture. Again, holding on to your own identity. And this is what Joseph did in Egypt. Because we know that Joseph was in jail. That's where we are in our story now. Joseph was sold into slavery. That was last week's portion. He worked in Potiphar's home. He wound up back in jail. We read that story last week. And this week, he gets out of jail because the Pharaoh finds out that he can interpret dreams. And so he winds up working in the Pharaoh's home. But before he can leave jail, he needs to change his clothing. See, clothing's important to Joseph. We read about his clothing on multiple occasions. A couple of weeks ago, we read about Joseph's clothing, the coat of many colors. His dream coat, as Broadway calls it, right? Any dream will do. Everybody know that show? Yeah. But a coat of many colors, a gift of the favor of his father upon him. But then when he was sold into slavery, he wore the garb of an Egyptian slave, which probably looked something like a toga. Either the ancient real toga or the kind they wore in the movie Animal House. It was one of those, I'm sure. But then he was thrown back in jail, and he wore the garb of someone in jail in Egypt. But before he could then be back into the Pharaoh's house, the Torah tells us about how he was clothed in the clothing of royalty to work in the Pharaoh's house. And then later on, also in this week's Torah portion, he will change his look as he becomes second in command of Egypt, behind only the Pharaoh. And he changes his clothing again, so much so that his own brothers, when they come down to find food from the famine that was coming through the entire Middle East, they don't even recognize him, because now he's in the garb of what looks like a pharaoh, with a shaved head, with the makeup that the royalty of Egypt would wear. Each step in his life, the coat of many colors, the slave in an aristocrat's home, the clothing of a person in jail, the clothing of royalty in the Pharaoh's house. Each one of these representing a different stage of his life, but also representing a bit of what we might call the border of assimilation. Because it would be easy for Joseph, once he loses his coat of many colors, which is a coat that connects him to his father Jacob, that connects him to the God of Israel. It would be easy for him to lose that connection to that God as he becomes a slave in a home in Egypt. And then when he goes even to a lower place, into the jails and dungeons of Egypt, and wears the clothing of a slave, it would be easy to say, how can I believe in a God that would let me come to this low place? And then he finally ends up in the Pharaoh's home, in the garb of almost like the Pharaoh himself, with the makeup of the royalty of Egypt. And it would be easy for him to say, I'm second in command of the whole country. If the Pharaoh calls himself God, he wouldn't mind if I call myself God over Egypt as well. And so he could come and put himself in another eyes. But he held on to his connection to the God of Israel. When his brothers came down, as part of the plea bargaining that happened without their knowledge, he set things up so that his father and his brothers and all of their families would be fine during the famine. He protected not only Egypt, but all of the people of Israel, because he stayed true to his God. Instead of assimilating, he acculturated. He held on to his Judaism while still mixing into some of the culture around him. He mixed in with the culture of the jail at that time, and then later mixed into the culture of Egypt as second in command of the entire empire, but all along holding on to his Judaism. Hanukkah is a Zionist holiday. It's a holiday about having a country for Jews. I know that in modern politics, people say Zionism means other things, but all Zionism really means is that there needs to be a place for Jews to live safely. End of definition. I know other people have other definitions. I think their definitions are wrong. But it's a holiday about Jewish protection, that Jews have a place to live, that Jews can be Jews and not be forced into another culture, not be forced to honor other gods, not be forced to pray in a different way that's foreign to Jews. And the Maccabees fought not only against the Seleucid Greeks, but against Jews who were assimilating too much as well. It's a warning into the future. You know that for quite a few hundred years, from the Middle Ages up until the late 1800s, Hanukkah fell out of favor in the Jewish community. Very few families in America lit a menorah. Very few Jewish families in America owned a menorah. Not until the late 1800s did it start to come back. And what started bringing it back? The idea of making it the Jewish Christmas. It's a holiday against assimilation, and assimilation helped to bring it back. But out of that growth of the assimilated Hanukkah came a Hanukkah that was Jewish again. And the lights of the candles that we lit earlier tonight and that will light for the next 5 nights, these candles represent a light of Torah that bring us back to walking the ways of Torah. Like Joseph, we can wear other clothing. We may put on the garb of our profession, whatever we may do for a living, and walk into the office and wear that clothing. But when we come home, we can put back on the spiritual clothing of the Jewish people. We can participate in all of American culture. It's hard not to if you have one of these things. They keep pushing culture at you. Good culture, and bad advertising. But we seem connected to everything that's going on always, and it's difficult to put it down and stop and just be in a Jewish moment, a moment of lighting these candles, putting on the garb of a Jewish person, and finding the light of Torah. The light of Torah that tells us to feed the hungry, the light of Torah that tells us to house the homeless, the light of Torah that says that we should help those in need and we should always act in a righteous way, even when the culture around us might tell us not to do so. But this is the light of Torah that the menorah reminds us of. And so like Joseph, we need to find our moments where we wear the garb of the culture around us. But we also, like Joseph, find the moments where we dress in the spiritual clothing of a person who's Jewish, of walking the pathways of the Torah, of taking the light of the menorah and putting it into our hearts, just as we take the light of the Torah and put it in our hearts and let it shine out into the world to become an or l'goyim, a light unto the nations. We're told that we're supposed to publicize the miracle of Hanukkah. That's why you're supposed to take your menorah and put it in the window of your house so that people walking down the street, okay, we live in America, people driving down the street will see the menorah in your window, and we publicize the miracle. And what's the miracle? It has nothing to do with oil. It's a nice story that reminds us of miracles. But the real miracle is that despite all of the times where there have been people who have arisen to wipe the Jewish people off the map, the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Seleucid Greeks, the Roman Empire, the Babylonian Empire, other empires that have come along, the pogroms in Europe, the Holocaust in Europe, the wars against Israel, October 7th, 2023, all of these events, rising anti-Semitism in America and in Europe right now. We read in the Haggadah at Pesach that in every generation there are those who have risen up against us, but God has carried us through. And how did God carry us through? By giving us a pathway to walk in life to make the world a better place. And I think it's because of that we make the world a better place. That's why we survive, even when there are those who rise up against us. May the light of Hanukkah help you find your Jewish garb, to help you find the times where you wear your spiritual Jewish clothing, where you find your spiritual Jewish nature, and bring righteousness and kindness and goodness into the world. May that be the message of the menorah that we learn every night when we light its candles. Amen. We turn to page 586 as we come to the closing prayers of our service, and we'll rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedul al yotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kol goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu noteh shamayim veyoser haaretz, u'moshav yikaro bashamayim ima'al, u'shchinatu zo, v'govhe meromim, hu Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efes ulato, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. The middle of 590. כי המלכות שלך היא עולמי תמלוך בכבוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד. We can be seated. In our yard sites this week, we recall the memories of Barbara Goodsell, Evelyn Pfeffer, Faye Eulis, Helen Goodman, Marion Orleans, Michael Krosky, Milton Silverstein, Sidney Howard, Abe Arbitman, Marcia Kaplan, Melvin Pendleton, Nina Albert, Florence Resnick, Pearl Simon, Ruth Weiss, Samuel Goldsmith, Betty Edelson, Hilda Greenberg, Ruth Williams, Alan Wolfson, Carolyn Myers, Eve Wiener, Evelyn Spitalnik, Gertrude Porter, Joseph Levy, Julia Haim, Marcia Ritterband, Walter Saunders, Joseph Oxenhandler, Carol Kern, Harold Winograd, Kenneth Schoninger, Deborah Rubino, Harry White, Henry Singer, Rachel Lee Alpern, and Joan Locke. Are there any other yard sites that anyone is observing this week? Yehi zichronam levarcha, may their memories be an eternal blessing. We ask mourners to rise and those whose custom it is to stand with them as we turn in our siddur to page 598, and in their memory we sanctify God's name. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavorach le'olam ol me'al maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudusha b'reichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimramav, huyaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. We can all be seated. Carolyn has our announcement this evening. Some things coming up toward the beginning of January here, so a few things for your calendar.
I haven't used this. Shabbat Shalom. Thank
Shabbat
you for
Shalom.
joining us for this Erev Shabbat and the candle lightings that we had. Thank you, Rabbi Jay, for everything. Save the date. Town hall feedback sessions on the firearm policy. Please RSVP for the in-person sessions at templeshalom.com. The next one is Sunday, January 5th, from 10 to noon in person. That happens to coincide as an after the parent breakfast and meeting for the Mirakaz on the same day, but that starts at 9:30. Please, again, register for this. On Thursday, the next town hall meeting will be 23rd from 7 to 9 on Zoom. And then the final one is Sunday, the 26th of January from 10 to noon in person again. Boker Tov Sunday Club is the 12th of January with Mike Unger presenting Hot Topics in Competitive Athletics. Register, please. Micah Weiss Bar Mitzvah is Saturday, the 18th of January. The music concert, Woodwinds for Unity, is Sunday, the 19th. If you haven't found something in all of this, please register for that one. That's at 3 o'clock. There's pickleball. It's a Havurah, and it also starts on January the 19th, but that's from 11 to 1 at Springs Pickleball, and I have no idea where that is, because I tried playing tennis, or was it racquetball? Something with a racket, and I was told that you can make the ball go where you want it. That was news to me. So, obviously, I don't play that, but it's going to be a good Havurah. Maybe I should go and learn, right? There's Mahjong, again, and you can get your cards by contacting Karen Kaplan-Weiss by the 31st. They also come in big print. And I know that you noticed our wonderful guard at the door, and our security has been heightened throughout this going on 2 years. And please consider additional support beyond your security fees. Thank you to everyone who's already donated extra. And if you know of any members of the temple who are ill, hospitalized, suffering from a loss, please contact the temple office to make sure that we can provide encouragement and support. Thank you to everyone who donated food for after services.
Thank you, Carolyn. Well, I think that pickleball place is like Fillmore and Union or somewhere near there. I think that's where it is.
Is it indoors?
It's an indoor pickleball place, yes. So you can play pickleball 12 months a year here in Colorado Springs. Even on snowy days, the balls won't get stuck in the snow because it's indoors. I don't know. I thought they played with pickles. That's but what do I think they're oblong and green, and they've been soaking in brine, so something like that. But we're going to turn to page number 669 in your Siddur. We'll end at the top of the page. A little Hanukkah song to end our service this evening. Ma'osur Yeshuati Lecha Na'eh Lishabeach Tikon Beit Tefilati B'Sham Toda Nizabeach Le'et Tachin Matbeach Nitzar Hamnabeach Azekor B'Shir Mizmor Chanukah Tamizbeach Azekor B'Shir Mizmor Chanukah Tamizbeach Rock of Ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amidst the raging foe were our sheltering tower. Furious they assailed us, but your arm availed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us. Azekmor Bashir Mizmor Chanukah Hamizbeach. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Chag Urim Sameach. Happy Hanukkah. Please join us for Kiddush Motzi in the back of the room. Come on over and join us for Kiddush and Motzi, everyone. Vayi Erev vayi Voker Yom HaShishi vayi Chulu HaShamayim v'Aretz Kol Tzva'am v'Yechol Elohim b'Yom HaShvi Melokto Asher Asa v'Yishpot b'Yom HaShvi Mikol Melokto Asher Asa v'Yivarech Elohim et Yom HaShvi v'Kidesh Oto Kivo Shabbat Mikol Melokto Asher Bara Elohim la'asot Savri Chavirai l'chaim Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei Peri HaGafen Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchi lanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher l'tziyat mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat l'chaim. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Chag Urim Sameach. A beautiful Shabbat and a happy Hanukkah. Come grab a little challah, and there's some other sweets here.